So in past few lectures, we are talking about foundry technology, and in that one we have talked about basic concept of metal casting process. We have talked about various steps involved in metal casting process, and the steps like uh, pattern making. Then second step is sand mixing and sand preparation. Third, core making. Fourth one is the melting of the metal. Fifth one is the pouring of that molten metal inside the hollow cavity, and after solidification we take out the component. Then finishing the component, testing its heat treatment process to relieve the stresses, and again retested, and it will be delivered. So these are the various steps which is involved in metal casting process. Then we have talked about the various advantages of metal casting process. We have also talked about application in various area where we can apply metal casting products. And then we start our discussion on pattern making. So pattern, it is the model or a replica of the object to be cast, and generally this pattern which is resemble certain allowances. Okay, so what are that allowances, that what we are talking. And then uh, what are the way in which the pattern which is different from casting. Okay, so pattern is slightly larger than the casting, and it has certain allowances that is to be bare. Okay, and pattern also has necessary draft, as we know that. And then it has certain projections. So these are the some of the thing what we have discussed in our last few lectures. And then we have talked about the function of the pattern, why this pattern is important, and what are the function which is performed by the pattern. Then there are certain various materials which are available to make the pattern. So which material we have to select. Okay, so there are certain criteria for the selection of the material. And then we have talked about various material which is used as a pattern. So wood, metal, plastic, plaster, and wax. So we have talked in detail about all these pattern material. What are the advantages of wood, what are the limitation of the wood, and which are the various applications where we can apply this wood pattern. Then we have talked about this metal pattern, its advantage and limitation. Then application in different area. Then we have talked about plastic as the pattern material, its advantage and limitation. Then plaster as a pattern material, its advantage and limitation and application. And finally we have talked about the uh, wax as a pattern material, its advantage and its application. And then we have started our discussion on the allowances, because as we know that pattern which is slightly larger than the final casting. Okay, so why? Because it has to carry certain allowances. Okay, and why this allowances? Because of this metallurgical and mechanical reasons. So these are the 5 allowances which is bared by the pattern. So first one is a shrinkage or contraction allowance. Second one is a machining allowance. Third, draft or taper allowance. Fourth one, distortion allowance. And final, wrapping or shake allowance. So these 5 patterns are very important. 5 pattern allowances are very important to understand, and sometime you will get the question from this. Okay, so this is very important question for exam point of view also. So it may be asked that explain various pattern allowances with need sketch. Okay, So, or it will be asked that what is the pattern allowances and explain any one or two. Okay, or in that one particular name is given that I explain either machining allowance or draft allowance or distance allowance. Okay, so these are the some of the important questions which frequently asked in final and semester exam. So this is very important to understand, and not only this, but if you go for some competitive exam, in that one also you will find a question from these pattern allowances. Okay, so that's why it is important to understand these pattern allowances. So first allowance, shrinkage or contraction allowance. So almost all the metal used in casting work shrink or contract during cooling from pouring temperature to room temperature. So in casting process, what we do? We melt the metal, and then that melted metal is poured inside a hollow cavity. So when it is poured inside the hollow cavity, it is in liquid form, means it is at a very high temperature. Okay, and that temperature we consider as a pouring temperature. Okay, and then during solidification and after solidification it will come to the room temperature. So when it will come from that pouring temperature to room temperature, there will be a three different types of forms which that metal takes. Okay, so first form is a liquid contraction. Liquid contraction means when we pour that metal at higher temperature, it will be in a liquid form, but still its temperature is very high. Okay, so from that higher temperature to slowly it will come to some lower temperature, but it is in a liquid form only, and during that time it has certain contraction, that contraction which is termed as a liquid contraction. Okay, so I will just show you one diagram. So initially its temperature will come down. Okay, but still it is stay in a liquid form. Okay, so when its temperature is higher and it will come to somewhat lower temperature, it has certain contraction, and that will be considered as a liquid contraction. Then solidifying. Okay, so during that solidifying we have a liquid plus solid. Okay, some portion will be in liquid form and some portion will be in a solid form. Okay, so this transformation, that is the solidifying contraction. So during that some contraction will be occur, and then finally it will reach to the liquid solid state, and then it will come to the room temperature. Okay, so that will be a solid contraction. So solidifying contraction and solid contraction. So when it will be at a higher temperature to at a room temperature, during that it will be solidified. So that contraction which is termed as a solid contraction. So there will be three different types of three phases of contraction. First liquid contraction, second solidifying. So in that one we have a liquid plus solid contraction and then solid contraction. Okay, so to compensate a liquid and solidifying contraction, liquid and solidifying means these two. To compensate this liquid and solidifying contraction, gates and risers are provided. Okay, so what are the gates and risers? That what we are going to discuss in our upcoming lecture. Okay, but here one thing is remember that to compensate these two, we have a gate plus riser. Okay, riser and gates that will compensate these two. Whereas solid contraction, here this is important, whereas this solid contraction adequate allowances are provided on a pattern. Okay, so to compensate this solid contraction, we have to give allowances on the pattern, and that allowance, that is known as a shrinkage or contraction allowance. Okay, so generally this liquid and solidifying contraction is compensated by riser and gates, while this solid contraction means this solid contraction is adequate by the pattern. Okay, so that's why we have to give certain allowances to the pattern. Okay, so that allowance, that is known as a shrinkage or contraction allowance. The different metal shrinks at a different rate because shrink is the metal property, and hence corresponding allowances are also different. So as we know that a different metal has a different shrinkage capacity. So simply here, if we take aluminum, then it's a liquid, solidifying and solid contraction will be different. Now instead of aluminum, if we take some other material like steel, so it's a liquid plus solidifying, and this solid contraction will be different. So that it is totally depends upon the metal property, and corresponding allowances are different. So the shrinkage of metal depends upon the following factors. So which are the factor on which that shrinkage will depends? So first is the metal to be cast. Which metal we are going to cast? Either we are going to cast some ferrous material or we are going to cast some non-ferrous material. Okay, so based on that, its uh, shrinkage will be different. As we talked earlier over here, it is the metal property. That's why first and important factor which is depends for the shrinkage is that which material we are going to be cast. Then pouring temperature of the metal, pouring temperature of the molten metal, at which temperature we are pouring it. It is also important because here we know that this this play an important role. This liquid contraction here. Okay, so at if we uh, heat or if we melt that metal at very high temperature and then we pour it, its shrinkage will be different. Okay, and if we pour it at some lower temperature and then we fill it, its shrinkage will be different. Okay, so what pouring temperature we are using to melt the metal? Okay, and at what temperature we are pouring it, that's also an important factor for a shrinkage of the metal. Okay, so that is the second criteria or factor which is affecting on the shrinkage. Then dimension of the casting, if it is a big casting or small casting, it has it if it has certain narrow space, it has a certain thin area. So all these parameter also play important role for a shrinkage. What is the dimension of the casting? Then method of molding. Okay, there are certain different types of molding methods, and in all these molding method, the cooling rate will be different. Okay, and at the same time, the outer environment will be different. So which type of molding method we are using, based on that your shrinkage allowance will vary. And then finally, shrinkage allows for different cast metal. Okay, so there will be some shrinkage for different cast metals. Okay, so these are the some of the factor which is depends on which this shrinkage of the metal will depends. Okay, so during pattern designing, we have to consider all these thing in mind. Okay, before we do any casting process where we design a pattern, at that time we have to consider all these things in mind, and based on that factor we have to design the pattern. Okay, so what are the factor? Again, we will discuss it. What are the metal to be cast? What is the pouring temperature? Dimension of the casting, types of molding method, and if there is some different metal to be cast. Okay, so these are the some of the factor on which there's the shrinkage of metal will depends. Then second allowance is a machining allowance. Okay, we have total 5 allowances. First one is a shrinkage or contraction allowance, then second one is a machining allowance. So machining allowance or finish allowance is the amount of dimension on a casting which is made oversize to provide stock for machining. Okay, again, machining allowance, or it is also known as a finishing allowance. Okay, machining or finishing allowance is the amount of dimension on a casting, amount of dimension on a casting which is made oversized, which is made oversized to provide stock for machining. Okay, so simply suppose this is the final cast we require. Okay, now if we made exact shape and size and then we do the finishing operation on the surface, so what happen that some portion, some amount of the material that will be removed. So after removing that, you will get a object which is undersized. Why? Because some layer of the metal that will be removed for the finishing. Okay, and if you remove that material, then whatever be your final size, which is not that you require exactly, but it will be underside. So to compensate that, what we do, we will make the object oversize. Okay, so we make the object oversize. So what we will do, we just simply make the object slightly larger. Okay, and then during that finishing operation, some layer from the outer periphery will be removed, and then we will get the object which is of the exact dimension what we require. Okay, and we know that in casting process we have to generally do this finishing operation, because the outer surface what we get in sand casting, okay, which is not a smooth surface. Okay, it should not have a good luster, it should not have a surface finish what we require. So in that case we have to do certain secondary operation like grinding or polishing, and during that grinding and polishing operation some amount of stock of the material that will be removed from the outer periphery of the object. Okay, and so that your shape and size of the object will change. So to compensate that, what we'll do, to compensate an oversized pattern is made to provide stock for the machining. Okay, so during that machining, that stock will be, that extra stock will be removed, and so that we get a finished layer. So a casting may require machining all over or a certain specified portion. Okay, so sometimes it is not necessary to be machine all that area. Okay, suppose here total 4 surface, so sometime it is not necessary to be finish all that 4 surface. So in that case we have to design accordingly. Okay, and in many cases we have to uh, do the machining on all the sides. So according to that we have to design the pattern. Okay, so it may require machining all over or on a certain specified portion, and such portion or surface on the pattern are given adequate allowances in addition to the shrinkage allowance. Okay, so we have to give an additional allowance which is also compensating the shrinkage. Okay, so here we have total two allowances. First allowance is a shrinkage allowance and second allowance is a machining allowance. Okay, so we have to consider both that in mind, and considering both this in mind, and then we have to design the pattern, because in both this shrinkage as well as in a machining allowance, our size is reducing. In shrinkage we also know that it will shrink so that its size will reduce, and in machining again we are removing certain stock of the material, so again your size will reduce. Okay, so according to considering both this shrinkage as well as machining allowance, we have to take some extra dimension on the pattern while we design the pattern. Okay, so we have to make this pattern in such a dimension, and then after shrinkage as well as after machining allowance you will get the cast of the required dimension. Okay, so we have to take a shrinkage allowance as well as machining allowance into the mind, and according to that it will be designed. The amount of machining allowance depends upon the following factor. Okay, so first, metal of casting. Okay, which material we are using for the casting, because the machining property is also depends upon the type of the material we use. Okay, in some case if we take a very small stove, you will get the finished surface, but in some cases you require a larger stroke to get that finished dimension. Okay, so that's why what type of metal we are using for a casting, it is a factor for the machining allowance. Second, machining method to be used. Okay, which type of machining method we are using to finish the cast, because in grinding we have certain various methods like grinding, lapping, honing, okay, polishing. So which type of method we are using to finish the object, and based on that we have to take the machining allowance. So simply if we take the polishing operation, so in polishing there are very less removal of metal, very less removal of the metal, even you cannot see it by naked eye. While in case of grinding, okay, if we use grinding machine, in that one the amount of stock which is removed, which is larger than the polishing operation. Okay, so which type of machining operation we are using, based on that machining allowance will be chosen. Okay, so simply if we use grinding, and in some time we use simply emery papers. Okay, and then by use the emery or sandpaper, we just rub that surface by the hand, and in that case the amount of metal removed, that will be different. Okay, so what type of machining method we are using, it is also a one of the factor which is to be which is depends for the machining allowance. And then casting method used. Casting method used. Okay, so in some casting methods you will get a good surface. Okay, and when you get a good surface, then it require a very less machining for getting a finished surface. while in some casting method you have a very rough outer surface. Okay, and when you have a rough outer surface, then it require more machining to get the finished surface. Okay, so which type of casting method we are using, based on that we have to give appropriate machining allowances to the pattern. So again, in a machining allowance we have to make oversized oversized pattern. And same thing here, in shrinkage we also make it oversized. Why? Because during contraction it will shrink. Okay, so these two allowances, pattern shrinkage allowance and in machining allowance, we make the pattern oversized than the original casting. Okay, so this is the thing to be remember. In shrinkage or contraction allowance and in machining or finishing allowance, we make a pattern which is oversized than the original casting. Then uh, it is also depends upon the shape and size of the casting. What type of shape and size we are using uh, as a casting, and based on that, that machining allowance will be selected. And finally, amount of finish required on the machine portion. Okay, so if we require a very good surface finish, or we require just a, simply uh, finished, or sometimes we require only rough surface. So based on that, what finish we require. Okay, sometimes we require a mirror like finish, means it has a good luster. Okay, it is very shining surface. So if you require a very good luster on the product, then it is to be finished more, and to finish it more we have to do more and more machining operations. Okay, so what type of finish we require, based on that we have to select the machining allowances. Okay, so ferrous metal needs more allowances than the non ferrous metal, and similarly large casting needs more allowance than a small casting. Okay, so this is the general thumb rule that you apply on this machining allowance, that ferrous metals needs more allowance. More allowance means ferrous metals, when we use a ferrous metal means iron as a base component, like steel and cast iron. In that case we have to give more allowance. Okay, so the size is made uh, larger than the original casting, and then the non-ferrous like aluminum, copper, zinc. Okay, so these are the non-ferrous metal. Okay, so in that case we require a very small machining allowance. Same way, when we have a large casting, we need more allowance than the small casting, and machining allowance vary from 1.5 mm to 60 mm. Okay, but 3 mm allowance is more common for a small and medium casting. Okay, so when we are dealing in small or medium casting, in that case generally we apply 3 mm allowance for the machining. Okay, but depends upon the shape and size, it will be vary up to 60 mm. Okay, in some cases you will get up to 60 mm. Okay, so that's why that machining allowance, which is totally depends upon the shape, size, the material to be cast, and the finishing that we require. Okay, and it will be given up to 1.5 mm to 60 mm allowances on the different types of pattern. So this is the second machining allowance. First one is a shrinkage allowance, second one is a machining allowance. Then next one is a draft allowance. Draft allowance. Okay, so draft or taper, it is also known as a taper. Draft or taper allowance is given to all vertical faces here. The important thing is that it is given to all vertical faces of a pattern for their easy removal from sand without damaging the mold. Okay, so again we will read it and then we will see the diagram, so it is easy to understand. Draft or taper allowance is given to all vertical faces. Okay, it is not for horizontal, it is only for vertical faces of a pattern for their easy removal from sand without damaging the mold. Okay, so if we see this diagram here, you can see this is the pattern. Okay, this is the pattern and this one is the vertical face here. This one is the vertical face of the pattern, this is the vertical face of the pattern, and this is the vertical face of the pattern. Okay, so now here you can see this is the pattern without allowance. Without allowance means here this vertical face is made as it is straight. Okay, it is made as it is straight, and now this pattern is fixed into the sand, and now you want to remove it, remove that pattern in this direction. So when you are going to remove it, this straight vertical faces that may damage this area of the sand, this portion of the sand may be damaged because of this straight face. When we lifting it up, it may damage this portion. Okay, so whatever the hollow cavity that you are getting is not exact because of the damage of this sand in this particular portion. So what you are getting, you are not getting the exact shape over here, and your sand will be damaged, so your shape will be different. So to easily removal of this pattern from the sand, what will do we get? We apply a taper over here like this. So you can see this is the exact shape what we require. This is the exact shape what we require. But for a easy removal of this pattern from the sand, we have given this taper shape, to the vertical face, so that when we remove it, as we lift it, you can see as we lift it, this sand and this pattern are separated. They are separated so that there is no contact between the pattern and the sand, so that it will be easily removed. Okay, as we lift it, there will be a separation between these two, so that there is no chance of damage of the sand. While here, as we try to lift it, okay, still up to this pattern is completely goes out of this sand, up to that it has a contact, there is a direct contact. Okay, there is a direct contact between the pattern and the sand, so that it may damage your mold. While here, as you start to lift this pattern, okay, and as you just lift it, okay, there is a separation between the sand and the pattern, so that it will not damage to your uh, mold or sand. And that's why to easy removal of this vertical face, what we do, we give a allowance, and that allowance which is known as a draft or taper allowance. So this slight taper inward or outward on the vertical face is known as a draft. Okay, so that taper is known as a draft. That's why it is known as a draft allowance or taper allowance. It can be expressed either in degrees or in per minute. Okay, so what angle you provide, okay, so that angle, okay, so that will be provided in the form of a degree, or it is also in the per meter. Per meter means what is your total length in meter. Okay, what is the length of your pattern in meter, vertical face. So we are talking only about the vertical length in meter. Okay, and based on that, what amount of taper we are providing. Okay, so that will be in mm. Okay, so this will be in mm per meter, and generally it is on a more, it is more on internal surface as compared to external surface. Okay, so when we have an internal surface, then we will give more draft, because that internal surface which is difficult to be uh, removed. Okay, so that's why when we have an internal surface, and on that internal surface we give a more taper than the external face, and the amount of draft depends upon the following factor. Okay, so which are the factor? First, shape and size of the pattern. Second, method of mold, and material of molding. Okay, so these are the same thing what we have discussed earlier, that what is the shape and size of the pattern, what is the molding method we are using, and what is the material to be molded. And this allowance is varies from 20 mm to 25 mm per meter on an external surface, while it will be 40 to 60 mm on an internal surface. Okay, so as we discussed earlier, that on an internal surface it will be given more, and it is easy to withdraw the pattern having a taper allowance on the mold without damaging the cavity. Okay, so as we have seen in this diagram, if it is a straight, then it is difficult, but if it is a taper, then it is easy to remove from the mold. Okay, so we have discussed three types of allowance. First one is a shrinkage, second one is a machining, and third one is a draft allowance. Then next one is a distortion or camber allowance. So the tendency of a distortion is not common in all casting. Okay, so you can see this is not common to all the casting. Okay, so this distortion allowance which you will not find in all the casting, but in some cases you will find it. Okay, so which are the case? Okay, so the casting will distort or warp if it is having a irregular shape. Okay, when we have a irregular shape, in that one you will find this distortion allowance. If it is of a V or U shape, okay, or the arm having a unequal thickness. Okay, suppose this is the arm, okay, and this arm has a unequal thickness, in that case also you will find this distortion allowance, and one portion of the casting cools faster than the another. Okay, in that case also you will find this distortion allowance or camber allowance. Okay, so these are the only reason or the things where you will get this distortion allowance, otherwise you will not get in all this casting process. Okay, so when we have a irregular shape, when we have a V or U shape, when we have an unequal thickness, or when some portion is cools faster than the other, in that case only you will find this distortion allowance. And to eliminate this defect, an opposite direction is provided on the pattern, so that the effect is balanced and correct shape of the casting is produced. Okay, so simply here, if you want to get this shape, okay, you want to get this U shape, and now you make exactly U like this, and then you do the casting. So after wrapping, after this distortion, you will get the object which is over here. You can see whatever this continuous line. Okay, so it is not a U shape like this. Okay, it is not U shape like this. Okay, but it will be slightly like this. Okay, it will be like this. So why this happened? Because of this distortion. Here you can see this is the thin area. Okay, and here this will cool faster as compared to this one. So in that case, this wrapping will occur. So to get this, okay, to get this exact shape, what we'll do, we will make a U which is like this. Okay, we will make the U which is like this. Okay, this one and this will be in this direction, and after contraction you will get a U like this. Okay, so we will get a shape change like this. Okay, so to eliminate this defect, an opposite direction, here you can see opposite direction is provided on the pattern so that it will be done, and the amount of distortion allowance will be vary from 2 mm to 20 mm, and it is depends upon the shape, size and of the casting material. Okay, and finally we have a wrapping or shake allowance. Okay, so when a pattern is to be taken out from the mold, it is first wrapped or shaken by wooden piece. Okay, so we just simply tap it so that the wood or whatever the pattern material that will be sticked away from the uh, mold material, so that it is easy to taken this pattern from the mold. Okay, and this is done so that the pattern surface become free from the adjoining sand. Okay, and due to this there is a little increase in size of the mold. Okay, so that's why again here, due to this wrapping or shake, we are just shaking the uh, pattern so that there will be some increase in size of the mold, and for this purpose a negative allowance is provided on the pattern on the dimension to keep it smaller, and it is normally provided only on the large casting and negligible for a small to medium casting. Okay, so generally this shape a shake or a wrapping allowance is provided when we have a large casting, because in large casting when we shake it, it's there will be some change in the size. Okay, but in small to medium it is not going to be changed. Okay, so these are the five types of allowances that what we have discussed today, and in next lecture we will see some more regarding the types of pattern.